You know how you know when you run out of ideas, Paul?
Yeah, it's when I spend 17 hours a day playing Call of Duty.
Well, that, or when you're Lenovo and you put, can you see that
Oh,
right there?
jeez.
12 gigs of RAM in a phone.
A slider phone.
I
What do you
don't,
need all that RAM for? Running Chrome?
I, I don't know, but when your phone ships with more RAM than a well-equipped Surface laptop or Surface Pro, you might have a problem. Or you
I
might,
think the McLaren edition, if that's the right name, of the OnePlus 6T also ships with 12 gigs of RAM, I think. But that's a high-performance phone. It's designed to be like for gamers
yeah, I'm trying to find my mouse to make this thing full screen again.
and
Just
other
see.
people that need to overcompensate.
Oops.
Yep, that's it.
There. I saw that headline and I was, yeah. That befuddled me to the highest degree.
The slider aspect of it is what really makes this sell.
Sure, slider fine, but 12 gigs of RAM is a lot of RAM for a phone. That's it. That's how I know you. I don't know. I just think Lenovo is just like, screw it. Here we go.
I think most people apprised of this story would say, Lenovo makes phones.
Well, that is also a fair assumption.
Mm-hmm.
So just yeah. Well, apparently they do, and apparently this is also Razer's new keyboard and mouse that's coming specifically for the Xbox. Because if you've ever said, "Hey, I want a PC gaming experience on something that's less than a PC," this is the setup for you.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I on it. Look, as far as gaming goes, I mean, it may or may not actually pan out this way, but the simplicity of a console combined with the 4K-ish capabilities of an Xbox One X or a PlayStation 4 Pro, it has got to be the sweet spot of this market. I mean, yes, you can absolutely get much higher resolutions and frame rates on a PC, but my God, the cost, not just in dollars, but to your soul from all of the work that would have to go into that complexity of such a system. I get it.
I mean, I guess I don't know. If they enable it for PUBG, I'm gonna be sad. So
Yeah. Just because you're not going to want to be part of that.
right, because I game on a console because I just pick up the controller, I sit down,
Yeah.
and I just
Well,
putz
that's what
around.
I mean. So, my only thought though is, if they do this, they have to respect the fact that most people are not going to be on keyboard and mouse, because otherwise the game was just going to lose all interest, right? I mean, if they make it so that someone can come in with a keyboard and a mouse and just destroy everybody, popularity of this game is going to fall off a cliff.
Yep. Well, it's yeah. It's I don't know.
God, we already have huge latency problems like this. There's an optimal experience you can have, obviously, and I'm gaming over Wi-Fi, and Call of Duty warns against this, and I have these experiences where, like, I see I'm shooting the guy and then he kills me. And when you look at the replay, I've apparently shot all around him like a stormtrooper in the first Star Wars movie. And it's just a mismatch between, what I see, what he sees, and what the game says really happened. I've had experiences where I come around a corner, there's a kind of a sound, the screen hitches for a moment, and then for a brief second I can see there was a guy there that was not there, and I'm just dead. And it's because, again, it's the two experiences that we're experiencing as players have not lined up. So this introduces another layer of complexity, is all I'm saying. I don't think this is a smart thing to do for fast-moving games.
Yeah. Well, we will see. We will see. I don't know. Right? I guess options are always a good thing, but don't kill a console what makes a console a console.
Well, here's how you solve the problems for PUBG specifically, or for any shooter. You have keyboard, I don't know what we call them in PUBG, but you have keyboard-specific playlists, right?
Yep.
You're never going to mix and match. If you at the beginning you diverge, or just by virtue of the fact that you have a keyboard and you've said I want to use this keyboard to play this game, you will never see the games where it's only controllers. I mean, that'd be fine.
Yeah. I guess it would be a fair thing. The only problem is that then that puts it on the developer to make that happen.
But I mean, it literally is on the developer. That's the point of this. Like this support has to be enabled by the developer.
You know what else has to be enabled by developers, Paul? Is your Hue lights. I hear you have a very dramatic update.
Yeah, well, I have an interesting update from people. Let me just go look at what the situation is. Yeah, it hasn't changed. So I received emails from a bunch of people, and I should go look. It's possible there's some stuff on the site. People comment on the video from our podcast, I guess, who informed me of something that I kind of knew and certainly misdescribed in the podcast, and it may help me get these things updated. So let me explain what I said and then what they said and where we can meet in the middle. I was describing how there was a distance between the Wi-Fi router and the garage, and the lights are outside, and so there's the complexity of the building and whatever metals might be in there, and they're blocking the signal, whatever it is. But I went out there with my phone, and I could browse the web, like I said, knowing that I wasn't on cellular. I was actually hitting my own Wi-Fi, and I felt that these things should be able to communicate with the Philips Hue hub. So a number of people chimed in with very useful information. This is the thing I wanted to communicate, which is that the Philips Hue devices, the light bulbs, don't use Wi-Fi to communicate with the hub. They have their own network. And I actually knew that. The reason I described it more simply is, well, just sloppiness, but the Philips Hue hub is right next to the Wi-Fi access point, and next to the router. Like a lot of people, you have that the wire comes into the house in one place, and you kind of put all that crap right there. So I was kind of oversimplifying it. But the thing I guess I had forgotten or maybe didn't know was that Philips Hue actually creates a mesh network. And I was talking about, I want to bring the lights in, put them into like a lamp, turn on the lamp, one by one, update them to the latest firmware, and then put them back outside, expecting that will help this to work better. And what they were saying, a number of people told me this. They said, instead of doing that, what you can do is bring one of your Philips Hue lights closer to the garage, because that will improve the signal just by virtue of the fact that it's closer. And that's actually a smart idea. The bad news is, and I got to be honest, I kind of expected this, but is it hasn't made a difference at all. And so I removed the whatever lights I had. I think I only had 2 configured. I removed them. I went find new lights. I had the same. I took a lamp out of my daughter's bedroom, put it in we don't have a name for that room. It's the dining room. It's where my old office was, which is between the living room where all the stuff is, the hub and the access point, whatever, and the garage. And turned on the garage lights, turned on the lamp, went to the Hue app, find new lights. It was exactly the same experience as before. I found 3, not 4. I said, screw it, whatever, I'll update them anyway. And it's doing the same thing where they're in a list. It says ready to install. It says downloading. It says not responding. It says downloading. It says not, so it hasn't actually fixed the problem. I think the real problem here, is Philips Hue, but is there's no sense in the Philips Hue app to say, I want this one to update right now. Just update this one. And then when that's done, I'll move on to the next one, right? It's trying to do them all at once, and it won't do any of them until all of them can be updated. And because they're constantly moving into the state of not there, or whatever they say, however it's not responding or something, it will never update any of them. And so the way I updated 2 of my existing devices before was to remove the new devices, turn off one of the other devices, and just update the one. And it took, like I said, it took an hour. And then I turned on the other thing, and I did that, and I think that took about an hour. And I think, again, for the best, it's just so infuriating. I think I'm going to have to do what I said I was going to do, which was to unscrew every one of those bulbs, bring them inside, one by one, put them in a lamp, find it, update it, turn it off, take it out, put the next one in, do it for all four, and then put them outside, right? I'll give them names so I know which one is which, and I'll put them in the right order, and then I can program with the colors I want or whatever. But like I said, it's the 18th, Brad. It is 1 week before Christmas. We bought these things over the Thanksgiving weekend, right? We procrastinated putting them out because it's a pain in the ass to screw these things. Like I said,
got to get a ladder and maybe put some mittens on.
It's awful.
Your ears might get cold.
Yeah. It's cold out. It's terrible, and we're gonna have to do it 2 more times because we got to take them down and then put them back up. And a number of people have recommended, maybe going with another kind of light. Fair enough.
Sure.
The rationale I had for this in the beginning was we already have these things. It's kind of nice using one app to do them all, whatever. But you know what? It'd be even nicer if it just frickin' worked. And yeah, so yeah, we'll do it. I'll keep trying. I'll spend, like today, my wife's working. It's just sitting here. It's downloading updates. Supposedly, one of them is ready to update. The other one is downloading. But while we're talking, they'll switch. One will say not responding. The other one will start. The one that's ready to update will say downloading, even though it should be ready to update. I don't know what the deal is.
Maybe you could join the Hue Insider program to get those rapid release updates to make your life a little better.
I hate the world, Brad.
So the other thing you should try, and I don't think this is going to help you, at least not with your update problem. There's an app called Huemote, Huemote, and it is much better than actually Philips' app. It's much, much better. It's what I use to control all our lights for the most part.
I don't have much of a problem with the control of the lights. In fact, I think what has been happening for me is that we have whatever lights we have. I described them yesterday. We do make changes to them from time to time. It's always kind of worked fine. But what's happening in the background is there's an automatic update functionality built in, and it's enabled. And a number of my lights had never updated. Because of the unreliability of the system, they've just sat there out of date, never updating. And I think as they pile up, it's harder because of the way the system works. Like I said, you can't say install this thing. It has to do it as a group. They fail randomly in different orders, and so that kind of never happens. And this only became obvious to me because I added 4 lights all at once. This is kind of like a scientific maxim, right? When you're doing an experiment, you don't add 4 new variables at once. You add 1. But anyway, adding 4, doesn't matter. I could have added 1. I would have become apprised of the situation regardless. This is just a bad system, It's really frustrating. My Fitbit didn't work this morning again. I went off the deep end.
Could get an Apple Watch. Mine works pretty well.
So a number of people recommended Apple Watch. Apple Watch is of no interest to me at all, and the reasons are sound. The battery life is terrible compared to the Fitbit I'm using. This thing literally gets 7 days battery life. But it's also Apple specific. I'd have to sync it with an Apple device. The thing is, the Fitbit Alt I had was perfect for what I needed. I was just measuring steps. It's really small, great battery life. It's synced fine. It wasn't like a mission critical thing. I never came back from a walk and was like, oh my God, sync, what did I do? All I knew was that I had met my steps goal for the day. And if it synced then or later in the day, I never cared. But now I got the new one because it does a couple things I want, because I want to change the way I do things. And so it does heart rate monitoring. It does VO Max monitoring for oxygen, and specifically for when you're sleeping, because I do certainly have sleep problems, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. And I've started working out. And working out for me right now just means I'm using the elliptical and kind of accelerating the hardness of it or whatever. And eventually I'm going to add like weight training and stuff. But this one does the stuff I want. So this new one does the stuff I want. I've had good experience with Fitbit. Man, I've had problems with this thing ever since I got it. And it's gotten worse. And it's one of those things like you try to like solve the problem in like a fake way. Like I have multiple phones. So it's like, well, I just got an iPhone. Like actually, look, it's syncing on the iPhone, even though it won't sync over here. And oh, wait, now today it's going to sync on the OnePlus 6. Like I move between phones. I try to get it to work. But the thing is, when I do a workout, I want to see the results. And when I get up in the morning, I want to see how I slept. And when this thing doesn't sync, I want to tear it into tiny metal shreds and bury it under salt. Like
Wow,
it makes me insane.
That was
Because
under salt, by the way.
I want, yeah,
very specific.
who could love this thing now? No, I want the simplest of things. I want it to work. And it's not the phones, it's the device. Clearly. Sorry, go ahead.
So what I was going to say is what you could do. Not that this is going to help you, but you could get an Apple Watch with LTE, sync it up one time to your iPhone, and then it would always just kind of stay in sync because it's always connected.
No, but the problem is I want to look at the thing.
Yeah.
Like I want to look at the results. And like the Fitbit app is, it works on everything. So if I switch between phones, if I'm on the road, I always have it. By the way, my latest workaround, because I was reading their support forums, the only place it syncs right now, like in my other phone, all my phones cannot even find it now, is my Windows, this PC. And I don't know if it's because the Bluetooth module is more powerful, maybe because it's a desktop computer. That doesn't make sense, but I don't know what it is. But I can, as of today, I can only sync it with this PC. And this is too fragile of a system for me. This is unacceptable.
Says the guy who can't get his light bulbs to work.
Well, that's unacceptable too. I mean, no, it's unacceptable.
No, I get it. I get
it. Listen, we work in an industry where nothing ever works, and the hard thing is, if you think about it, just by virtue of the fact that we write for websites that promote personal technology and blah, 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 whatever, we are in a way part of the problem, a minor part of the problem, but we've kind of dedicated our lives to this crap that never works, And there are sites that have far lower morals than we do, who mindlessly promote everything that Microsoft makes or Apple makes or whoever makes, without any regard whatsoever to the fact that this stuff often doesn't solve problems, that it creates problems. And there's a weird kind of moral reputation kind of issue I have with all of this. It's really concerning, This is completely out of date now, but years ago, many years probably, my mother and anytime anyone older would come to me and say, I feel like I really need to learn about computers, I'm getting left behind. I'd be like, listen, if you've survived this long without understanding computers, don't bother.
Yep.
It is just a road to heartbreak. And because it will always fail you, always. And it may not happen today, but it will fail you. And if you like frustration, if you like to be irritated all the time, if you're into stuff that doesn't work the way they say it's going to work, then yes, please enjoy this world of personal technology, our little personal circle of hell that we've decided to live in.
Are we talking about that 1809 is available today, or are we talking about something else?
Well, listen, Skype, Windows 10, what falls into this category? There's so many things.
Yeah, it'll all break eventually, and then it'll get fixed, and then it'll break again. Get fixed and break.
It's a circle jerk of terribleness. It's just, it never stops. It never stops.
You doing all right? Everything going?
I've had a couple of breakdowns lately on the home, with the stuff at home, and I'm a little on edge this week. I don't know, maybe it's the holidays. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it is a tough time. Maybe drink a little more eggnog.
God damn it.
This is what folks, this is what happens when you're stuck inside because the sun, I bet the sun sets at your house probably about 4:15 p.m. or something crazy like that.
Well, that's the other thing. I used to walk outside every morning. Once I had that, sometimes I'd see a deer or a fox or something, Now I'm on a treadmill in a basement that's like Hitler's bunker, and I'm watching Hitler's bunker. I'm watching World War II documentaries on TV. And I'm getting more exercise for sure. That's good, but
no, I get it. Every time I let the dog out, he he takes off. He's on a leash, but he takes off down the path, down our little sidewalk or porch sidewalk thing, thinking like, this is the time, we're going around the block. Like, and I'm like, no, it's 12 degrees outside. That's not happening. But he gets so pissed because I have to like reel him back in like a fish and just like be like, we're going in the front yard today or the backyard or wherever. Because it's,
my dog gets a walk every morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually my wife does this, but it is the highlight of this animal's day, right? It is the only. She goes outside to go to the bathroom maybe once or twice other than that, but this is her moment to shine. She's about 45 minutes out there. She gets to go around, sniff things in the neighborhood, and it's her day. And my wife had said one day something like, man, it's weird how overtly excited she gets about this. And I'm like, Stephanie, this is the only thing she does all day. Beyond this, she moves from couch to couch and sleeps. I mean,
find some crumbs.
Her whole day is wrapped around this one less than an hour event. I mean, this is it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big deal for the animal.
Well, the good news is, and I think it's Friday. I believe it's Friday. That is winter solstice. I cannot say it correctly. Which means that starting on the 22nd or 23rd or something like that, we're going to start getting daylight back from the Australians. And suck it, boys, down south. We are taking it back.
You know, I look forward to this every year. And we joke about this because we have a friend who one year literally said the day after, like on the 22nd, she said, I think I could see it getting brighter earlier today.
Oh, wow.
We're like, no, you didn't. But yeah, it is. So we always this joke comes up all the time now. But it is a fact, right, that we get more light each day, right, going forward from that time, and that's something to be celebrated. But it's also a fact that's the day winter starts, and the worst weather that we get is still typically about 2 months from now. Last year was in March, but so it's kind of a mixed blessing. Like I'm glad that flip is occurring, right, because the darkness is awful, but we also have at least 2 months of 3 months, I would say.
A season typically lasts about 3 months.
Well, I mean, where we live, of actual snow and bad weather. You know, the accumulation we get usually occurs now, or January, February, or whatever.
Yeah, we're about 45 days away from me really wanting to play golf, I think. Like, I'm okay not playing golf right now, but then once it's kind of the golf season starts up here in January, see them playing in Hawaii, thinking, man, I could do that. And then obviously knowing I can't, but I like to think that I can go out there and slice some balls into the woods.
Our version of that is spring training, right?
Sure.
Because nothing says the beginning of good weather better than baseball, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And when the teams kind of come down, I think, to Florida, Arizona, and maybe Southern California, I'm not sure if they do that there, but wherever spring training occurs, you know, the pitchers show up, I think, first. And
pitchers and catchers and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and it's here we go.
Yeah.
You know, like this is how it begins.
Yep. We've got a vacation planned for the beach, and I am looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yep. You got anything else for...
Yeah, what else doesn't work in this house? I don't know. Sometimes it just comes to a head. No, I don't. How about you?
No. I'm going to play some PUBG while this video renders, I think, after this. Eat maybe some lunch.
I do have my final doctor's appointment of the year this afternoon, so I'll be gone for an hour.
Yeah, my dog... This shouldn't impact the show, I don't think. My dog is having the procedure done tomorrow. The procedure.
Excuse me. I have like a dust ball in my throat.
Maybe that's a Hue update for your larynx.
Not a pamplemousse in sight to solve this problem. Speaking of which, hold on.
Is it working?
No.
Oh.
They said two of them. There's only two of them listed, 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
They both were green. It said ready to update, and there was a new update button at the top. So I clicked it or tapped it, and actually, no, it does say they're up. But the other two are. I don't know where the other two went. Oh, jeez. So 1 and 3 of 4 are. Oh no, one's unreachable.
What you need to do is go get some. is go get some pig's blood and like put it on the one that works and mark it for good faith.
Yeah, really. Well, I want to find the one that I think the one that does is. This happened before where 3 of 4 were found. The one that was not found was closest to the house. You know, like you think that one would have the best reception, but maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's being blocked by some metal there. Anyway.
Anyways, folks, that wraps it up for today. Hopefully we are the light of your life and keeping things going cordially. And with that being said, folks, have yourselves a wonderful, what is today, Tuesday. And I'm sure you're going to have a better Wednesday than my dog, but we'll catch you right back here tomorrow.
Jeez.